confinement. That's a very small place because there's no boat big enough to hold 12 people in one spot. So how you manage the day-to-day operation of that situation?
Yeah, so it's definitely taught me a lot of lessons, especially because it was only a 50-foot boat, which can get super cramped. But we just try to organize our stuff, be conscious of the other people who are in the cabin, like give them their space when they need it, but also just maneuver and figure out ways to work together as a team in order to have a comfortable space, especially in the cabins. They can get very cramped in the morning when everyone's trying to get ready for the day, but it's just about, putting others before yourself sometimes and like being able to communicate with other people.
So who's the cook? Who cleaned the dishes? Just tell me, who is in charge of assignment, adult or the kids do it themselves?
So the adults are our supervisors, but we do really all the work that we need to do in order to have a comfortable environment. So there's this thing called the work wheel where we each are assigned a number and we spin the wheel each day to see what job we have. So one day you could be there's 2 cooks, then there's like 4 people washing the dishes, then there's people who clean up the boat. So we all cook and clean on our own. The adults will help us from time to time, but we actually clean the dishes all together using salt water, and then it's like a 3-step process where you like dip it in salt water, and then you dip it with soap, and then you dip it in fresh water, and then you dip it in water with bleach, and just like you have to dry it, and then there's a person who brings it to the kitchen and puts it away. So it's a whole really actually well thought out system that everyone has a job, so everyone's putting work into the environment of the boat.
Right. So if the dishes are not clean, we know who did it, right?
Yeah. And sometimes they'll send it back being like, this isn't clean enough. Can you clean up the spot?
Now, Madison, that sounds to me like living in COVID-19 times in small places. So you kind of like learn how to live in confined environment, right?
Yes, except with this time it's my family, so.
Now let's talk about business classes. You are very interested in business classes, and I don't know too many people who are interested in physics and business. So school us about your business interests. Where you got this interest from?
Mostly from my father. He's like really into business, and it's really interesting just to see what he does. And he's right now expanding his company all over the country, and that just it's so interesting how he works so hard and he's actually like seeing the results. So I'm taking this business class that's 6 weeks over the summer. The first 3 weeks is about business itself, and then the last 3 weeks are about personal finances. And then in September, every Monday for 2 hours, we will talk with a CEO or like a successful business person, and they will share with us their experiences and tips they have. And then my second semester of my senior year, I will be doing something called a capstone project. That will just encompass everything that I've learned. So it's like a whole year's worth of work, and I've just started, but I'm so excited for it.
Great. Now, my next question, it has to do with, I know at your age, you are very social. How you manage to keep up with your friends during this difficult time?
Well, it's definitely difficult just because everyone has different routines that they've had, but we always have to work with each other and find time that works for all of us. So we stay in contact a lot just by texting and by chatting over FaceTime. So we don't get to hang out probably as much as we would like to, but we're still staying connected, which is important.
So now tell us a little bit about your experience. I understand it's 55 minutes, right, in front of the screen per class, right?
Yeah.
So how you get a break, lunch break, and you're looking at how many classes, people faces? Did the by looking these faces on the dress code, does that distract you at all?
Oh, for sure. Like, it's very easy, especially when you're sitting in your room or at your desk, just like looking at a screen all day during school. But one thing that I really like that the teachers have done is that they usually don't really make us stay on the Zoom call for the whole 55 minutes. They let us off after a half hour, just because they know that Zoom can be really tiring staring at a screen. A lot of people got headaches from looking at a screen all day, so people had to buy blue light glasses that will help with that. But we do have a break during school. We also have our lunch hour. I try to go out and take a walk with my dogs, or just walk with my family, just to let out some energy, because you're not walking to each class anymore. I do try to put away my phone so I don't get distracted, and I don't really try to text my friends during class, just so I can try and focus on what we're learning. It's really hard, honestly, to keep that motivation for school, but I know it is important, so that's why I try to prioritize that.
So the teachers and the students are learning at the same time from each other, right?
Yeah, and there was definitely an adjustment period where, what my school did was the first 2 weeks of the Zoom call was a grace period where we didn't have any tests or quizzes. We didn't have any graded assignments, so we could just get used to the Zoom call, because, it was a really big adjustment. But I think that my school just, noticed that the challenges that we did have to go through, as well as the teachers, how to really fix their curriculum and plans and decide really how they were going to teach this class for the rest of the year. So
it's fair to say that because of confinement, tests and quizzes are a little bit out of the windows. They give you more assignment now than tests and quizzes.
Yeah, they're more collaborative projects, I would say, just so the teachers recognized that they want us to connect together even over a screen. So we were able to work together on a lot of projects, which was actually really nice. We would usually do that on FaceTime, where we could have a group of people or Zoom, get a group of people to just come together, even on the screen, and just work together and be able to talk with, our classmates to help a better class morale.
Now, I'm going to go to different sections of life now. I'm going to go into sports. I know you're into sport a lot, and you like competitions. What is the difference between ski competition and tennis competition?
I would say that tennis competition's very individual. The pressure is really on your shoulders, but it's also nice to not have to count on other people. You can just really focus on how you're playing, how you can better your game, because at the end of the day, you decide if you win or lose, which I really like. But it is a nice community to see people that you train with there, or just having my sister there to cheer me on. It's definitely way different than people think, just the community, but I do like it because it is an independent sport.
So in tennis, you control your destiny in a way. That's what you're trying to say. But what about ski? You have to be in a group setting? Skiing? Yes.
So, yeah, I mean, that was pretty individual, too, just because it was your time of, I was a slalom skier, so just, it's pretty much every sport I've done, it's been pretty much individual. But skiing was just, I loved it because it was fast-paced. You're just in your head, and, you got to focus on doing one thing at a time, which was going around those gates at the fastest speed possible. They're definitely very different, though, just because there wasn't really tournaments per se. There was just races. And it's definitely a different community, but they're both special in their own ways.
Now, this is so interesting, this interview, but we're getting to the end. If you just want to, this is Sekou Radio, and our guest is Madison MINTZ. And Madison, to close in, what would be your advice? I know soon you're going to graduate, you're going to move on. What would be your advice for the next generation?
I would say just, don't take anything too seriously. Just live in the moment, enjoy your time, being in high school, because it is a really nice time just to find people that you can connect with and enjoy living at home with your parents while you can, because it does move really fast.
Well, I want to thank you for your mature advice. Thank you so much. I definitely enjoy working with you. And thank you much, Madison. I learned a lot from you today. And for Secu Radio listener, that was our friend Madison MINTZ talking about the period of confinement and her experience with the high school, summer camp, etc. Thanks again.